So I want to start out on the healthcare innovation sector in China right now. With the growing tensions, trade tensions, geopolitical tensions we're seeing between the US and China, what do you think the implications of that are going to be on healthcare innovation in China?
Thank you, Selena. So what we've seen is Chinese companies or Chinese funds looking to invest in US have dropped 90%, the funding in the last 18 months. But for Qiming, we primarily invest in China. So there's actually not a whole lot of difference. But we have seen actually more entrepreneurs that were from the US actually moving to China to start companies. So that's very interesting. We just closed the third company in the last half a year where there were serial entrepreneur in the US and looking to start company in Shanghai or Hong Kong and whatnot. So, be it in gene therapy or AI drug discovery, some of the newest technology and so forth. But other than that, the consolidation of funds in China is happening. So, the investment in healthcare or in tech has dropped 70%. And also the US dollar fundraising and then also renminbi fundraising has also dropped significantly. So what we're seeing is the LPs are actually, instead of investing in 30 to 40 funds, they're actually investing in 3 to 5 funds, but putting more money into each funds with good track record.
I want to dig into one thing you said there. So the entrepreneurs that are going back to China to start healthcare ventures, are they leaving the US because of the geopolitical tensions? They fear that they're not welcome? Is that why?
Well, I think they have to consider if they were to start companies in the US, sometimes they worry that maybe some of the IP cannot be licensed to China. And China being the second largest in the market or the largest market in the world, in different areas, and then also the cost of clinical development in China is a lot cheaper. It would be very difficult for them to develop drug at a full speed ahead if they don't have China at the back end. So some of them decide to start the company in China because if they were to start the company in China, they can freely license the technology globally. So, but we've also seen during this process, during this half year, there's an influx of European funds and companies coming to China wanting to partner with them.
That's right. In fact, I was just speaking with the AstraZeneca CEO that's making a big biotech fund in China. So, but how much original innovation are you seeing in the biotech industry in China? And where does it compare to where the United States is?
Well, it depends on the sector as well. So in healthcare, in biotech, I think we're still quite behind. But when it comes to medical devices, I just had a one-on-one meeting half a year ago with the global CEO of Medtronic when he went to Shanghai to open up the innovation lab. And in the meeting, he said that there are 2 or 3 companies in our portfolio that Medtronic really like to co-invest or even potentially acquire outright because their technology is actually better than what they've seen in the US. So I think it's very encouraging to see that there's actually some innovation coming out from China.
Can you say what companies those were?
I'll keep it quiet.
Or what sector? Okay, well, when you are ready to tell us.
But one of them actually is planning for Hong Kong IPO very shortly.
Okay, well, that's probably a short list. We'll take a look at that. So you are focused on China, but you do have RMB and USD, US dollar funds. So overall, how have the trade tensions impacted your investment strategy or the strategy of your portfolio companies?
So our investment strategy remains the same. But what's really interesting is because of the drop in investment, the prices have actually come down as well. So one of the deals that we're closing right now, we're investing at the same valuation as 2.5 years ago. So, and that's in renminbi. In US dollars as well, we're also seeing the prices have dropped somewhat. And that's also a reflection of what we've seen in the performance of the Hong Kong IPO for biotech. Because as you saw in the first batch of companies, the bankers really priced the companies really very high valuation. And then in the second batch, the performance was a lot better because the valuation that they priced was more reasonable. So as a result, that actually pushed back on the private sector as well, where the private market the pricing is coming up lower, and then also the pre-IPO valuation has also dropped. So overall, that's actually a very good thing for VC funds.
So a big topic of this conference is tech decoupling, blacklists, export bans. One of Qiming's investments from a while ago, Face++, was put on the US blacklist. It's an artificial intelligence company. So what's your assessment of this blacklist, and does it change the way you invest in AI companies in China?
Well, I think we'll continue to invest in AI companies in China and also robotic, on also the latest technology, because I believe that what we're seeing is some folks feel that it's a lot faster to collect data in AI in China. And a case in point is we've invested in a self-driving car company in China, and they're one of the leading ones. But when we were doing a test drive in Sunnyvale, California, 10 minutes of driving, we only saw 20 cars, so that's our data point. But when we were doing a test drive in Guangzhou, at any one point, there was 500 matters going around. Pedestrians walking in the wrong directions, motorcyclists, bikers, and so forth. So the data collection is so much more intense in China. So we believe that this is a good area to invest.
But with the growing scrutiny on AI use in China, do you feel like as an investor you have to do more ethical due diligence before making an investment?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, I think for healthcare as well, we do the same thing. We want to make sure that the clinical data, everything else, has to be up to par. And when it comes to technology, we also want to be doing the same thing. And I just want to say also that when I was at the Partners Healthcare Conference in Boston earlier this year, folks, Mass General, Brigham Women, they all feel that China is the solution to affordable healthcare for the world. And that's very, very important for us to continue to develop drugs in China and working with the world.
And really quickly, has the WeWork saga had any ripple effects on the venture industry in China?
Well, it's certainly come down in some of the big pricing companies. I was just talking to a CEO, and he was trying to price his company at 15 billion, and he has to price it down to 12 or 10 billion. So yes, it has some effect.